Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. You guys have a long day, and this is the last phase of your day, so congratulations, you've almost made it. So today I want to talk about digital customer experience. And in various sessions today, you have seen and heard how customer expectations are changing. Customers are more demanding. Customers want to be in control. Customers want to make their own decisions. They have a lot of information in front of them. So how should companies really manage these expectations? We also know these customers are not loyal, especially in today's day and age. Their brand loyalty is not what it used to be before. So there is a big challenge in front of you guys, the sales and marketing and distribution and technology leaders of organizations. How do you develop your customer experience strategy? So I want to talk about that in three questions, if this works. So in three quick sections of my presentation. One is I'll give some examples of what I see some companies are doing as innovative use of digital and marketing and sales and customer experience. We'll talk about what are some of the lessons that we can learn from them. And then in the last section, I want to talk about how should you think about your customer experience transformation, and how should you develop, what capabilities do you develop as a part of your customer experience transformation. So first of all, I'm sure you all recognize this character. I also found out that in Korea you cannot play Pokemon Go. Not yet. I'm assuming it will come sometime soon. But my point is just to give you an example of how digital technology, along with augmented reality, online to offline, gamification, and analytics are going to change how marketing is done. So Pokemon Go is a game, and which on itself, has nothing to do with pure marketing. But when you combine the power of Pokemon Go and the underlying technology with marketing, for example, in Japan, McDonald's Japan has created a partnership with Pokemon Go. In their 3,000 stores in Japan, they are going to use the McDonald's stores as the Pokemon gyms and for Pokemon shops where you can buy things. So to attract customers, and so they will not only come there, of course, the intention is for them to buy McDonald's products. So again, one point I want to make here is when you think about digital customer experience, you cannot just think about digital. You have to think about, of course, digital, but how online to offline integration happens, and how can you really use creativity to integrate online with your offline experiences and help in sales. I'll take a very different example next. This is about Nike, a brand I'm assuming you all know and understand. And the story I want to tell you here is about Nike Plus and all the related innovations that happened with Nike after that. If you think about shoes and experience of buying shoes, typically it is when my shoe is torn, I go to a store, maybe I have some brands I like. I'll buy a pair of shoes, and then in 2 years later, when my shoe is torn again, I'll go to a store and buy another pair of shoes. That used to be how customer experience for gym shoes, or any shoes for that matter, and even for Nike back in the days. But then Nike marketing guys realized that they are missing out significant opportunity to really engage with the customers in their entire life cycle of how they want to use these shoes. Why do they buy these shoes? Because they want to be healthy. So in order for them to be healthy, they need to exercise, run, train, do a lot of things. And in order for them to do, and if Nike could integrate those interactions with purchasing of shoes, then they can have a lot more dialogue with the customer as opposed to once in 2 years. So Nike Plus did two things. One is it gave a platform for customization and personalization of shoes that created brand loyalty, that allowed Nike to charge more for the same shoe because of personalization. But because I am personalizing the shoe, I have more loyalty. And with the shoe and with Nike ID and Nike Plus technology, now I have many, many more reasons to interact with Nike. So as a result, Nike created 8 different interactions with the customer through the use of technology and through use of data, by connecting shoes with your exercise habits, the data from mobile, which is being fed back to Nike, which they can track. You can track your run, they can track your run, you can create social connection, you can compete with your friends and colleagues, you can do many things. But these are not just for fun that Nike created, because Nike created this because they knew through this they can collect a lot more data, a lot more information about your better. Your habits and behaviors that they can use to really redefine their product strategy, their customer experience strategy. So this is, just another example of how a in-store experience with digital experience, with co-creation with customers, personalization of experience, and new interactions all came together. And in the first few years after launch, Nike's customer registration in Nike Plus, went over 300%. I think they have a goal of 100 million customers as a Nike Plus registered in the next couple of years, and they're very well into that journey. So some other examples, again, I think just to show the power of digital customer experience in driving sales and marketing around. You have heard of the brand Netflix, that they have basically taken the streaming video and content business. They have traditional video and movie rental businesses have been bankrupt as a result of the technology and that is being used by Netflix. But the point here is they're using data and analytics to really transform what preferences they show you, how they stream video to you, and what kind of content they create for you. Burberry, again, creating online and offline experience Similarly, in the United States, a shop called Target, they have shop the look, customer experience, which basically you can shop based on a model's outfit and look, and with virtual reality and use of data and video analytics, they have created a very close simulation of a person's physical structure and how a dress would look on a person, even if they don't actually go and try it on. So things like that, innovations like that in customer experience are happening in every industry, right? So if I look at all that trend, I see 6 key or common themes that come across from these various examples and many more examples that we can talk about. One is leveraging digital to innovate, okay? Leveraging digital not just to digitize your business process, but leveraging digital to innovate your customer experience, your product and services. The second is omni-channel, okay? By omni-channel, what we mean is where we are creating an experience that is seamless across multiple channels. So for banks, retail stores, you have online, you have bank, you have physical bank locations, you have online banking, you have mobile banking, you have call centers, you have many other ways of bank. Similarly, you have many ways to really do retail shopping. How should the companies create an omni-channel experience, an experience that is consistent with across multiple channels? Advanced use of data and analytics, which you have heard probably many times over the presentations today, and I'll get into that a little more. Customer engagement. This is a very important one from the Nike example. The whole point is about how do we create more relevant, creative customer engagement. Customers want to be involved and engaged, and through innovative customer experience, how can we create opportunity for customers to engage with us as companies and create new value for them? That leads me to co-creation. And I will again explain this a little more later. But co-creation is about creating value, new engagements and experiences, working with the customers, stakeholders, and suppliers and others. And you need to think about processes and capabilities for how do you co-create with your customers. And finally is what we saw with the Pokemon example, gamification, not only Pokemon, but also the Nike example, where you are using technology to create a competitive environment where you are engaging with your friends, peers, or others, and creating a social interaction. So all of these techniques are being applied by these, by various leading marketers, and these techniques are not all applied at the same time, but also a combination of these techniques and capabilities you need to consider as you develop your customer experience strategy. So from all this, what we say is that we are in an experience economy, an economy that is very different from what it used to be before. Once again, just to repeat what I said in the beginning of this presentation, is this economy is experience is a differentiator. And how do we create that differentiated experience is how we would either win or lose. The winners will be able to identify and innovate, like Nike, in different ways of creating relevant engagement, whereas others, if you cannot do it, then you will lose in the market. So in this experience economy, PwC customer experience team globally, they did research across multiple industries, and we looked at different customer expectations. Now, various industries have various different expectations and experience requirements, but if we aggregate it, we find these 9 attributes as very common attributes across customers of various industries and various segments. And I'm not going to go through each of these, and you can probably understand. These are written in very simple terms. But whether you're creating a online experience or a mobile experience, whether you're creating a social media interaction, or whether you're creating an online to offline interaction, these are some of the expectations customers have. Now, the point I want you to understand that these expectations are table stakes. These are, you have to deliver on these expectations. How well you do on these and how you differentiate from your competitors would allow you to win or lose in the market. But none of these are tradable. None of these requirements can be, you can trade off against others, because customers really have expectations from you to have all of these capabilities and experiences. So to do this, we believe companies, our clients, need to have the marketing and sales and marketing capabilities, and the customer experience that they deliver has to be always on, because the customers are always on. That doesn't mean that they're surfing the web, every day, all day long, but their expectations are changing. Their requirements are moving as they're experiencing different products and services in one industry. If they experience something at Amazon, they want that from your other retail stores, from the same experience. Okay, if they have innovative experience in one financial institution, they expect that from all financial institutions, because that becomes the new normal. So in this new world of technology-led customer experience, marketing, and sales, we want our organizations to be relevant, the interactions, participate with customers. It has to be data and insight driven. It needs to engage with the customers and stakeholders and be connected. It is different. It is different from what it used to be, and it is as we kind of outline here, from a sales-driven organization to a customer-driven organization. Customer centricity, as you will hear, and probably most of your strategic priorities have customer centricity as one of your strategic priorities. And that's because if we are not customer-centric, we cannot deliver on digital promise. And that is pure and simple. Instead of being product-driven, we have to be solution-driven, because customers are looking for solution for their problems, whether it's not about buying a shoe, it's about being healthy. So change the outlook from a transaction of buying a shoe to how can I help my customers be healthy. If you look at Nike's slogan and Nike's kind of value proposition, it talks about it wants to bring out an athlete in everyone, and it wants that athlete in you to maximize your performance. Okay, they're not talking about selling shoes. They're not talking about selling, shirts or golf bags. They're saying they want to maximize the athlete in you. And to do that, they're leveraging technology, they're leveraging online, offline experience, and so on and so forth. From mass market, it has to be micro-customized or personalized to a certain extent. Okay? It used to be mass-marketed products, but today, like Nike Plus, everybody can go and design their own shoes. Okay, with different colors, different fillings, different art on your shoes, and many different dimensions that you can customize and to your personal taste. And that's micro-customization to a personalization depending on which industry you're in. You need to anticipate their needs, not always respond to their needs, but anticipate their needs, because some of the innovations that are happening in different industries can impact you. And overall, you need to look at lifetime value of your customers. So these are some of the lessons learned from various organizations and examples that we looked at. So what should we do? What should you as sales and marketing leaders of organization, customer experience or leaders of organization do? So we have, we believe these 10 key success imperatives for digital sales and marketing and customer delivering high value customer experience in a digital world. And these 10 things are capabilities that you need to build in your organization, or how you need to think about developing customer experience, designing customer experience, delivering customer experience. Unfortunately, we will not have time to go through all 10 of them today, so I've picked a few just to make some points. The first one is around the decision advantage and analytics. So we all know the power of analytics, and we all have heard about digital is about data. The companies that are successful in digital world, they know how to use data. They know how to analyze data. But at PwC and how we really look at analytics is more than just data and scientific statistical modeling. That is a must. That we call predictive analytics. That answers for who should we sell, who are our customers, what should they buy, through which channel they should buy, simple questions. But what we believe, in order for you to differentiate we believe in order to differentiate in the market, not only you need to look at the science of analytics, you need to look at the art of analytics, which we call the behavioral economics. And we have done some work here in Korea with some financial institutions where we have taken behavioral economics layered it on top of predictive analytics to improve sales and marketing results. And I will speak briefly about behavioral economics later, but the point here is when you look at harnessing the power of information, you need to, of course, build analytical capability to analyze data, get insights, predictive nature, but you also need to think about how do you apply behavioral science to improve the effectiveness of the decisions that you can make through predictive analytics. And the last bit is simulation, which is very important. And throughout you will see, and even in our the 10 key points that I want to make here is experiment, is in every step of the way, you will see test and learn and experiment, and taking, you know, calculated risk is a part of the digital journey you need to take. So when you think about analytics and leveraging information to drive customer experience, think about the analytics that is data-driven, think about behavioral economics, and think about simulation in doing business. The next topic I want to talk about is co-creation. So you have data, and you have analyzed the data, and you understood what the customers are looking for, okay? But a lot of innovation happens by engaging directly with the customers, and not only with the customers, but also other stakeholders in your business, like the suppliers or the regulators. So we believe co-creation is an approach that every successful company needs to consider, okay? So in Nike's example, and I will again show you some slides on, actually the next slide, Nike looked at the co-creation seriously, and they believe in this. But it is not only just Nike, it's Procter & Gamble and lot of retail brands and consumer brands. They're all trying to figure out how do they engage better with customers. You know, Lego is famous for engaging customers in building their product. So is 3M. And how do they do it? Co-creation does not happen by accident. You have to have a process, a methodology to really drive co-creation with your customers, with your other stakeholders. And this is just an illustration of, you know, what are the different parts of co-creation. But again, co-creation means creating additional value. And that additional value comes from new engagements and new experience and new interactions that you create with customers and stakeholders. So you need to think about where and how you can really improve the engagement with customers, and not only in the development of products and services, not only in the design of the experience, but also ongoing engagement of the experience. So the Nike example that I was trying to say, you know, we worked with Nike in understanding the whole ecosystem of the customer and the Nike as an organization and the different channels of interaction. What do they do with a shoe, as an example? What do they do when they buy the shoe? What do they do when they use the shoe? And the use of the shoe in the digital life, like, you know, listening to the songs or mapping your run and so on and so forth, and use of the shoe in physical world, like going to a health club or other things. So mapping the interactions, understanding the interactions, understanding the sales process, and understanding the Nike's internal processes of how they manufacture and sell shoes. All of this allowed us to understand where the gaps are and what the opportunities are between the customer processes and Nike's internal processes, and where can we improve or create new engagements. So there's a lot of research and writing about co-creation that you can find, and you need to seriously consider thinking, how can you take small steps in driving co-creation in your organization. Next, I want to talk quickly about omnichannel. I mentioned it before, and this is a very important one for customer experience in digital world. Digital experience will not be successful, cannot be successful if you just focus on digital. It has to be online to offline, integrated, omni-channel. Now, sometimes people mistake that omni-channel means it's the same across all channels. It's absolutely not true. Okay, you cannot deliver the same experience across all channels. And omni-channel also doesn't mean because I have multiple channels, I am omni-channel. Okay, how do you deliver a consistent, seamless experience, but that is context sensitive, depending on what I am doing through which channel and who I am as a person, as a customer, as a segment. That is very important. When you go to an Apple store, you want to spend time. You want to look at products. You want to spend the time to understand. You want to talk to the technicians or the experts. You are not in a hurry, okay? Whereas when you go to Apple's website to go buy something or do transactions, you want to do it quick. You are not there to spend 30 minutes browsing Apple's website because you have a purpose most likely, and you are there to do something and do a transaction, find an information and get out. But if Apple thought that I need to create a same experience across all channels, they will define their store experience complete, same as online, which will be a disaster. So designing the store experience is going to be different from online experience, but there has to be a linkage and integration between the seamless nature of that. If I have started something in the store, I can finish it online. If I started something online, I can come back to the store and get help on that and create that seamless interaction. So one of the most important things about omni-channel experience is understanding the context, understanding that the segment of the customer that we are trying to serve and what is the nature of the interaction, and then look at the end-to-end customer journey so we know how omni-channel really affects the entire customer interaction as opposed to just one simple touch point. So that brings us to the next point about personalization, because personalization is extremely critical in delivering omni-channel. As you develop your online strategy, mobile strategy, or offline strategy, or omni-channel strategy, you need to think about personalization, or what we called before micro-customization, depending on what kind of business you are in. And as sales and marketing people in this room, you all understand, I'm assuming, how do you develop your customer segments, develop segment personas, and then define customer journeys. So I don't want to spend too much time into it, but you need to have a personalization strategy about which personas are you going to personalize, which experiences you are going to personalize, and how do you align your content for the personalized experience, and how do you measure success, and then finally test and refine and have a closed loop. So as you develop your strategies, and as you can see, these are all connected themes that in order to do omni-channel right, you have to understand how to personalize different interactions. And in order to personalize right, you need to understand how do you create and deliver a customer journey, optimize your customer journey. So that's the next point about improving your end-to-end customer journey. So one of the points I want to make here is that a lot of times people get focused on improving a customer touch point. Customer touch point experience is important, but if the overall experience is bad, people will not remember an experience at a particular touch point. So what we say is that you need to optimize the journey. At a particular point in the journey, you may have a very good experience. In some point, you may have slightly average or experience, but overall, the outcome of that experience need to be positive and delightful for the customer. So we can, when the customer leaves that particular process and journey, they have a very positive experience. one point I have talked about before, but I will hit it again because this is extremely important, is integration of behavioral economics. And again, behavioral economics, as I said, it is about decision making. Okay, so we all know about our left brain and right brain. Left brain is about logical, it's digital, it's about everything analytical. And the right brain is about, you know, everything that is art and colors and creative and big picture. And both sides of the brain play when we make decision. It's not just the analytical side. And the whole science of behavioral economics is about how we make decisions. Sometimes we make decisions based on irrational factors. It's not always rational. If we don't understand these things, we will design our experience poorly. We will make pricing decisions poorly. We will have poor outcomes, suboptimal outcome, and we have seen it many, many times. So, if you, as a marketer, as a salesperson, as someone who is responsible for designing customer experience in your organizations, I would ask you to go read and understand behavioral economics. You will see the application of that in things you design, decisions you're trying to make for customers. We have taken and summarized the whole behavioral economics in about 4 key categories and 25 sub-principles within these 4 categories about how you can actively design your experience in a way that you can influence the decision in your favor. Whether it's about decision shortcuts, because how you give options to a customer, value assessment, how do you put, what kind of price comparisons you show, social impacts. For example, if as we know, social influence is so high, and if we have seen, if we show customers like you have purchased these products, or customers like you buy insurance for this amount, customers like you have bought properties in this area, you are guaranteed to be influenced by that and decisions sway in that area. Emotional impact, like I'm sure you have seen airlines advertising as only 2 seats left at this price. Only 1 seat left at this price. They are trying to, they're trying to play with your emotional side of things, that if I don't take this deal now, I'm going to lose out on it. What they don't tell you is that, these tickets, for example, are not just available for 2 of you. The 2 tickets are not available for that airline as a whole, but for that particular price, for that particular company, it may not be available. But you can go directly to the website, to other websites, and find it. But it gives it allows them to influence your emotions and allows you to make the decision. And last but not the least is the talent. I cannot overemphasize this, that talent is critical. And in this digital world, as you have experienced today and learned about it today, you need people who understand the difference and how to do things differently. So instead of repurposing old, we would implore you to find the new talent who get it, who understand it. Empower your talent and experiment. Fail fast and forward. If you fail, you learn. As long as you're learning, failing is okay. But you need to be willing to take risk. And last but not the least, as I said before, you have to build a customer-centric culture. If you don't, you will not be successful in many of the things that we talked about, because you will not be able to deliver on the customer's promise if you don't understand what they should be. And to do all of this, these are the 4 summary requirements as we see. You need to be able to move with speed and agility. You need to be innovative and creative. You need to empower your team members. And finally, you need to have the trust and confidence of the leadership. Sorry, I ran out of time, but I would like to conclude with that. There's a lot of content that was covered. I'll be happy to answer any question afterwards, and thank you for your time.